last few months, I have been doing a lot of work outside around my greenhouse and the garden. Having a 2.5-year-old granddaughter that loves Peter Pan and fairies, decided the entrance to the greenhouse and the rock stone staircase that goes up there would be a good place to actually build a fairy house village. So kind of like an outdoor dollhouse, but a place that she can come and have some fun and have some fantasy. And so the whole process has been trying to contour the areas to the left and right of the stairs, which are made out of stone. So I've been able to add and kind of done some contouring and digging with the dirt and add with some concrete and mortar, some actual cultured stone type pieces that are used in construction around houses, and I'll be able to put them in there and veneer them in and mortar them in, and actually making some small little structures. So the whole process is still a work in progress. And so what I've done is I've added a few little fairy house doors to some of these that are prefab and bought at a hobby store. But some of the structures that are kind of layered up as they go up the hill and contoured into the side of the steps are actual structures that have been built out of plywood that have had doors that are handmade out of wood. But some of them are operable, some are not. One of the fun things about building this fairy house is just actually fairy house village is finding things that are natural, things we can make, or things on the beach like this particular small tree stump or a root that I found on the beach a few months ago and incorporated it into an actual foundation of kind of like a tree house for a fairy house. And so as the door is down here in the lower level and it has an entrance down there and kind of a fantasy of a staircase or ladder that goes up, and little tire swing. You can find lots of little toys and tires at Goodwill if you look at thrift stores. And then up here, the upper portion, I still have some work to do on handrails and lots of various things. But what I've found to build a lot of these fairy houses is if you go to these thrift stores and you find bird houses and you already made structures that you can kind of incorporate into what you're doing, then you have basically a small fairy house structure that are a lot of fun to play with. And so as this has developed over the last few months, it keeps growing and going. So I'm going to be doing a few videos to kind of describe what I've been building, especially for people who like to build small tiny houses like this and fairy houses and how to do it. And here's one particular house that was just made out of kind of a fairy looking gnome house that's made out of a log, and put on the front, contoured a birdhouse on the front of it and screwed it into it, created a little doorway right here to open up into. And so you have a fairy house with all these handmade shingles put on the top, a little dormer up there on the very top of it, and so you have a fairy house. And so these are some of the things we've been doing, and I'll be posting a video also about a hobbit house that's going to be going into this contoured area right here, which is above some of the condos down below. The fairy condos have another door I'm going to need to put over here. But as this develops and as the village grows, I'm going to be posting a few more videos and some of the fun we're going to have with my granddaughter and all of these little fairies we've been finding at thrift stores and different locations. And I'll do a little bit of description a little bit later of the schoolhouse we built for the town hall, or the schoolhouse there for the village. So have some fun with what you're doing in your garden.